Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending today's webinar. The topic is client's perspective of effective BIM management for mega-scale infrastructure project delivery. Before the start of today's webinar, I would like to remind you that there is an attendance system for Hong Kong IBIM members. If you would like to receive a CPD certificate, please remember to scan this QR code and enter the ticket number that has been sent to you previously through email. Please scan this QR code again at the end of the webinar to indicate you are present through the entire webinar period. Okay. Without much ado, let me first introduce Mr. Kevin Wong, the chairman of Hong Kong IBIM session 2021 to 2023. With a civil engineering background, Mr. Wong has more than 20 years of experience in the BIM industry. Currently, he is a director of a BIM software company. Mr. Wong was recognized by the Construction Industry Council as the BIMer 2020 because of his contribution to the BIM industry. Since Mr. Wong is not available today, he has pre-recorded a video for his welcome address. Then I would like to introduce today's speakers. We have Mr. Grant Ding, Mr. Kevin Wen, Mr. Focky Wong. They are all professional members of Hong Kong IBIM. Grant Ding serves the board of Hong Kong IBIM as honorary secretary for the current team. He has more than 17 years of extensive experience and practical knowledge of strategically implementing BIM, digital practice and process change through the life cycle of building an infrastructure project globally. Grant has lectured at universities, conferences, and industry organizations in APAC regions. He is passionate in exploring trends, insights, and implications of disruptive technologies. Kevin Wen is a professional member of Hong Kong IBIM. He has more than 14 years of work experience in BIM management, implementation, and automation development for various world-renowned projects such as One Island East and Second Murray Roads in Hong Kong, Dongdaemun History and Cultural Park designed by Zaha Hadid in South Korea, and Shanghai Disneyland Resort in PRC. Kevin has also devoted his career in the United States to the research and development of system integration and mixed reality. Kevin is a strong believer in automation, scripting, and programming, in digital workflows, practices, and software as a service, a trend in the future BIM journey. Focky Wong is a board member of Hong Kong IBIM and currently works in a managerial role for BIM management in a statutory body. He has more than 14 years of work experience in BIM implementation, development, and management in architecture, engineering, construction, and operations industries in Hong Kong, East Asia, and the Middle East. As a passionate BIM practitioner, he is actively pushing the limit to promote construction innovation and technological development, BIM, DFMA, MIC, FM, AM, and digital twin within the construction industry. Focky is committed to promoting technological change to the younger generation through lectures and articles. In recognition of Focky's works, he has been awarded BIMers 2020 by the Construction Industry Council. Now, we are going to play the pre-recorded welcome address delivered by Mr. Kevin Wong.
Hello, welcome. This is Kevin Wong, the chairman of HKIBIM. welcome for all of you joining our technical sharing today. So let me introduce HKIBIM for those who are newly joined today. We start with 2009, 10 years ago, with 5 professionals with the clear vision. So they are Felix Chan, Roland Collins, David Fong, Francis Lund, and Baba Yi. At that moment, it's only 25 applications for the member at the start. Until now, we have more than 1,000 of the member. We form a very strong BIM community now. We have 4 honorary fellows, architect Ada Fong, Dr. Conrad Wong, Thomas Ho, and surveyor KK Chen. We welcome you to see our website and check out more information about our society. And we please like and share our Facebook as well. We have a YouTube channel, so feel free to see our videos and channels to get more information and some of the CPD in the previous. We welcome you to join our professional member. So we have 2 classes of membership require an interview. So the first is the associate membership, and the second is professional member, MHKIBIM. So it requires different experience in the industry and also the BIM experience. It is well recognized by the industry and the clients. So please welcome you to join. For those students, we also welcome you. So we have student member and graduate member as well. We also connect to the industry with the Singapore government and the China government as well. We organize different events and also online events as well. We also create a BIM directory we call HKIBM directory since 2018. Check it out because it includes all the BIM company in Hong Kong in our directory. Last year we have the BIM award. We received more than 70 submissions. We have a big community getting the awards. So we have an award link, so feel free to see our last ceremony. So this year we have a new application. So we call for application now. We have a new award. It's the Aec Consultant Awards. And also we have an Outstanding BIMer of the Year. So if you think you are passionate in BIM, please apply. We are waiting for you. The nomination deadline is 26th of November, so hurry up. We also provide continued professional development for the BIMers. So we have different events. So please have a look on our website and also our email. HKIBIM is also one of the society contribute to an open BIM society. It's called Hong Kong ABEMA. It is the Building Smart International Hong Kong chapter. So we contribute to the open BIM society as well. In our board member this year, myself is chairman, and my vice chairman is engineer Dr. George Wong, honorary treasurer Dr. Jack Cheng, and honorary secretary Guan Tin. For information, Guan Tin is today's speaker as well. Thank you. And I have initiated 5 departments this year. The first is the head of membership, Benny Liu, head of training, engineer Owen Lee. He is also the organizer for today. Head of events and marketing, Simon Ng, head of technical, Ken Mo, and head of conduct, engineer Francis Leung. We have also have board member Monica Lau, Flocky Wong, he's one of our speakers today, TC Low, and Marcin Clausen. Our first online seminar was held in July. We invite speaker Ron Ng from CIC BIM department. He's the manager, and his topic is the overview of CIC BIM standard publication. So you can review in the YouTube channel. And the second online technical sharing is about common data environment. So all of them are award winner last year, including today. So it is very honorable to invite them to speak. Engineer Dr. Novalan Tan and present last time. So today I'm very happy and glad to have Mr. Quantin, Mr. Kevin Wang, and Mr. Frocky Wong. We are very happy to have them to present the client's perspective of effective BIM management for mega-scale infrastructure project delivery. Thank you so much for the speaker today, and let's enjoy. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Kevin Wen, on behalf of Frocky Wong, we thank you, HKIBIM, for inviting us. Thanks a lot, Kevin Wong, Josh Wong. Thank you, Ken and Wayne, for organizing this event. So just to, I have another, I'm also wearing another cap, representing of HKIBIM as secretary. So I was previously receiving feedbacks from the members asking for English sessions. So we thought we might want to do these presentations in English so that we can benefit most attendees and listeners. So this is our topic today, a client perspective of effective BIM management for mega-scale infrastructure project deliveries. Just to introduce myself, I'm Quantin. I hold a degree in civil engineering and also a master's in infrastructure project management. So an engineer by training, but I've been working in the consulting field for the last 15 years, mainly working on the architecture fields. So I'm now with the clients for 3 years and onwards. And on my right is Kevin Wen. I'll pass it to Kevin Wen.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kevin Wen. So I'm working in the BIM industry for 14 years, from the first project in Hong Kong to the other project located in United States, Korea, Japan, Shanghai, etc. So currently, I'm working as a BIM manager in Airport Authority. My interest in the geometry optimization and automation development, and I believe that the next generation, the next killer application for BIM application, it could be automation and plugins. I'll hand over to Frocky for the next slide.
Thank you, Kevin. Hello, everyone. This is Frocky Wong, a professional member of HKIBIM. It's my honor today to be here to share my client roles in experience with you. I worked for consultants, contractors, and currently I'm working in client organizations. I'm glad to be invited by HKIBIM to share my experience on BIM for facilities operation and maintenance. Today, I will going to share with you more on the integrated of geographical information system, GIS, and the computer-aided design, building information modeling, BIM, asset management technology to deliver and management of infrastructure for better infrastructure life cycle information management.
Okay, so back to me. For individual digitalization journey, we show these slides. We want to show that as a BIMer, right, in your university educational times, right, we are always exposed to a lot of these analysis, the CAD software and office applications. And while we starting to start to join the workforce as a junior architect or junior engineers, you know, we are limited access to, again, 2D softwares and the Microsoft Office. But as a BIMer, right, 3 of us, we were very fortunate that we took BIM as our career. We were able to advance our career as a BIMer, and you know, we were exposed to a lot of these technologies and tools, online collaboration platforms throughout our career for the last decade. What's next? We don't know, honestly, but we want to share what our perspectives are. Right, just for formality, right? Just to recap, where I'm working for. I'm working under airport authorities, so it's a statutory body, and really for airport, innovation has always been one of the missions. Project brief, 3 runway systems. Everyone should have the projects. The some of the project brief, reclamation of around 650 hectares. There's a two concourse that we're designing and building with associated aprons. We are also building a third new runway, which is of 3.8 kilometers long. And then once the third runways are completed, we will close down the existing north runway and start to reconfigure. There's a 2.6 kilometers of automated people movers, including all the baggage, a new baggage handling system, which will be capable of handling 9,600 bags per hour. We are also expanding terminal tools and other associated airport support infrastructures, road networks, and transportation facilities. So again, I'll start with the philosophy of really focusing on people, right? From the client perspective, we are always concentrated on appointing, identifying, and then training our own internal teams. So in terms of design or construction management teams, we have to start appointing all of these champions. We have to train them. So a lot of these internal training materials we have planned out and crafted just for our design and construction management teams to be able to utilize any of these 3D software or online collaboration platforms to open up the BIM models and start reviewing it. So they are all beginner courses. So we were taking the training, and then we were able to set up our own BIM training center, which is inside the Terminal 1. Immersive case systems, these are all generously borrowed from our IT departments, right? And associated video walls that we set up on site. We have also designed and started to construct our. We have also designed and construct our big rooms or war rooms on the construction sites, aiming to actually bring all the consultants and contractors to sit together inside the room and start to find the optimal solutions through visualization of all these 3D models and technologies. So for the start of every project, I believe clients really one of the key options is to look into setting up the BIM specifications and standards, right? So there's a lot of these BIM specifications and standards. There's local standards. There's also international standards around. But what we have experienced that in 2015, we engaged an external consultant to develop our BIM specification and our BIM specifications and standards. And also these documents have been subsequently refined to reflect what was being stated in the technical circulars issued by the works bureaus. And then for some of the LOD matrix, this is for aviation industry. This is quite different from I mean for the BIM standards in terms of the LOD matrix, the level of developments, right? Which is not easily referenced or found in local standards or international standards. For example, like some of these baggage handling systems, how do we define the level of developments? And so this is something that we have to work by ourselves and start defining all of this. Item 6, in terms of contractual requirements, I think client, we got to be as a client, we have to be wary. What are we trying to procure? The BIM scope of works that is to be delivered by the consultants, the design consultants, or the contractors, right? The scopes has to be easily achieved, or the scope has to be easily achieved by the consultants or contractors with adequate support, right? We got to consider how ready the market is in terms of the milestones. How do we ensure that when the consultant and contractors they hit a particular milestones and they are submitting the right BIM deliverables back to the clients, right? We are mandating them to implement BIM, but have we really looked into what kind of BIM deliverables do we want them to submit? So these are all the questions I think client has to start looking into, right? And so we can better manage or even assist or support our consultants contractors. Local standards, for example, CSE and also all the technical circulars, including all the international standards at BSI 19650. So again, that's going to be a big exercise for us to align our BIM specification standards towards all these local and international standards. In terms of process mapping, I want to specifically bring this up to really map up how 2D flows and 3D flows are going to be brought into the projects. There's always confusion. We have experienced there's always a lot of confusion whether 2D is a contractuals or whether 3D is contractuals, right? And somehow, so that this is the key reason why we have always map up even for mega projects. You know, each of these interface contracts, we have to map out the process, how the BIM models that is being contributed by different design consultants, they got aggregated, right? How you got passed on to the contractor when it's being awarded, right? And where does all the changes, who's responsible for updating it, and who has access to the ultimate federated BIM models, and where are we hosting this data, right? And what is the roles and responsibilities of in-house clients BIM team, and what are the scopes for our consultants or contractors BIM teams. So this all has to be mapped up so that the design and construction management teams they are able to understand. Nothing complex. I think the process map has been around in the market quite some time already. So with the map process, in terms of contracts, we define whatever scopes, right? Whatever requirements and all the key objectives, right? So, you know, with our fingers crossed, we are hoping for the best outcomes and the best BIM deliverables that will be delivered to us by our consultants and contractors, right? 2D drawing automations is always something that we hope that the 3D models and the 2D drawings are of consistence. We're not going to be realistic. We're not going to be generating all the 2D drawings from the BIM models, but there's a minimum amount of effort and a minimum number of percentages of the drawings, the general building plans, right? The key sections that they are able to generate from the BIM models, and we've got to ask ourselves what kind of drawings, shop drawings, fabrication drawings, right? And different drawings that is used during the design, tendering, and construction stage. And so with all of these map process, contract, BIM standards, you know, these are our clients defined BIM policies internally. It does work for even for owners, or even for consulting firms, or even for construction contractors teams, right? I think we have to start looking to standardizing our own BIM specifications, our corporate standards, BIM standards, and so on. Some of the technological backbones and cloud technologies we are utilizing on our projects. Revit, Tekla, SketchUps, all the APIs, all the plugins. Really, one of our the reason for setting up a BIM team within the client is the key reason is not really to micromanage every BIM team of the consultants and the contractors. I think one of the key roles of a client's BIM team is to really support the design consultants and the contractors. We wanted to be able to understand what are their difficulties, and we are able to hold hands together and start resolving issues. So we would like to look into a more open and collaborative process. This is something that we really recommend all the clients to look into. Common CDE that we are adopting. This is nothing strange or too much different to the markets. We are using BIM 360 for all trades except for structural steel. We are using Trimble Connects. For digital work supervision systems, this is another requirements that was issued by the Works Bureau a couple of years ago. So again, we are adopting Snagger for DWSS, right? Again, the advantages is paperless, user-friendly, and efficient. So for the cloud works, they could just go out to the site, take photographs of whatever pipe that has been laid down, on the construction site. They do the invert levels, right? Whether it's using any traditional surveying methods or advanced surveying methods, and then they start uploading the images and onto the platform itself. So totally fast, reliable. We don't have to hold a pen and pencil and start recording on the paper itself. So the project itself, we've got to consider there's going to be international teams working in the form of 2D and 3Ds, right? The workflow has to be careful, and at the same time, security has always been the utmost concern by the client side. I believe all the developers and all the clients or employers, they will be very, very concerned with how their project data are being used, and we are very concerned on accumulating enough of this data so that we can do analysis and operations. BIM uses construction simulations, 4D simulations, engineering analysis, construction documentation. In terms of all of these BIM models, we are looking into how these 3D BIM models can be extended from the design to the construction phase, right? We have to look for different scopes. For example, like analysis in terms that requires 3D joint generations from the BIM models or automations, for visualizations and shop drawing generations for MIC or DFMA, using the BIM data, the BIM model data itself for robotic total stations, setting out 3D control and plannings, BIM-based quantity extractions, for materials that we think that it will be mostly remeasured. It's just so hard to run through the 2D drawings and to remeasure it in 2D drawings. And then site monitoring, assistant condition modelings, using 3D laser scannings. These are all the BIM users, and we definitely are adopting full BIM users for the projects, and clients from the senior management perspective. Although we want to adopt full BIM users, but the BIM users has to be practical, right? It has to help the project teams in terms of project delivery, in terms of time, and how easy the contractor is going to use it to deliver their works. BIM-based cost estimations. I think what we have seen and experienced is majority of the models are being used to calculate the excavator volumes, the cut and fills, and steel quantities, where these steel detailings and the quantities are going to change, right? So this will all be measured, and I think one of the key strategies is to really identify a trial area or a key area. If the clients are wary of doing full implementations of BIM, the recommendation is to really look into a trial area to start measuring the quantities of a certain material. And that material actually often requires us to remeasure in the construction stage. So, for example, like steel, this has to be remeasured. So it makes perfect sense to really measure it in 3D and export of these quantities. In terms of this BIM model that all our great BIM models are putting effort in building up really good models. How are we going to bring this data out to the field to help our contractors, right? So one thing that we are hoping to see the construction teams in implementing machinery controls, how they input the data from the output from the BIM model itself and then import into these machine controls. So for example, one example of this is the BIM model itself is done in Civil 3D, and this Civil 3D was used to generate grading plans, cross-section drawings, elevation drawings for each layers. So this BIM corridor model was being used and imported into these machine controls and these paving machines, right? The hardware itself, it comes with all the sensors, all the radio with all the right frequencies. Again, you need a universal total station to make sure that the paving machines are working in the right alignment. So there's also targets that has to be installed. So this is the basic hardware for all the positioning systems. This is what we meant by really bringing out the BIM data out to the field to help the contractors. How do we capture the SQ conditions back to the office, right, to verify our design intent or construction BIM models, right? So again, this is what we are using laser scannings to verify, right? There's also a lot of effort that has to be inputted into implementing laser scannings. One, you have to do site survey and data acquisitions. You have to once you're done with the survey teams, you have to bring the data back to the office. You have to geo-reference it. You have to process the point cloud, and then you have to start overlaying the point cloud models to the design models. So again, this requires manual operation of bringing out the equipment to the site for laser scannings using different targets. There's also a requirement of software and hardware to process the point cloud models and then overlaying it. So we've got to understand the workflow and definitely the construction teams and the contractors, they are putting an effort on this. Reality modeling, nothing new. This is just another friendly technologies, right, for using drones and photogrammetry. But just FYI, there's also a lot that it also requires quite a lot of resources to put all of this model, to stitch all of this data together so that we can visualize it in our, way, what is underground utilities, or mandated in the projects so that we can verify the SQP models. We're not looking for millimeter precisions. I think with enough tolerance so that geometrically the elements are there. We're just checking whether the elements are there. And on item 26, with the workflow of showing all the point clouds models, why are we collecting all of these point clouds? There's actually an intention to use it all the way for GIS and asset management, which will be covered by Floki in detail shortly. Other quality assurance that we can really look into for recapturing the data using these kind of laser scannings, high precision laser scannings for specific construction materials that we want to have a good geometric control. And again, we can, once this is collected from the fabrication stage, we can use it as a QA/QC means of methods. For example, like the glass and the glazings for curtain walls, right? Before it got shipped out from the factory itself, we can double check whether the geometry fits into our design intent. And this actually helps us to save costs rather than shipping out of this glass from the factories. I'll pass it on to Kevin.
Thanks, Juan. So good afternoon again, everyone. So I'm Kevin Wen. So before we dive into the topics of the construction phase from client's perspective, I want to share some of the previous project experience in our previous work experience, which they are including some of the projects which is located in Changsha, in Singapore, in Shanghai, Sydney, Los Angeles, and Seoul. And these projects I'm working on this project since I'm in the BIM consultancy company. First of all, the project I want to highlight is one of the project in the South Korea. So we are working on the project from groundbreaking to finishes, and they are the first project in Korea. And the project was designed by a star architect called Zaha Hadid. 45,000 facade panels, digitally designed and fabricated using the BIM, including all the perforated holes. So you can see the picture behind that, which is the final product of the culture park. So this project was decades ago, but at that time we already using the digital fabrication method to fabricate those panels. So we would like to share some example, which is we call the automation example. Here we have the image behind that is a fairface concrete, which consists of thousands of the drawings to formulate these free-form shapes. So if you are using a human hands to generate those thousands of the drawings, they are not feasible. But at that time, at that case ago, the software at that time is not that sophisticated. We have to develop the automation script to automate to generate those drawings in the model directly from the 3D model. So the contractor on site, they can have a very accurate drawings and fabricate those formworks. And then they can construct the fairface concrete on the site. So we have a script to automatic to generate those drawings. So no matter they change the design for 10 times or 1,000 times, it doesn't really matter because we already have the full workflow and those scripting to automate those operations. And the second one I want to share with you guys is another project from Zaha did, which is located in Changsha, China, which is a Macy Hu International Culture Center. So the same thing is they are digital models to fabrication. And this time we are more advanced that we will directly fabricate those GLC panels using the CNC machines to form the formwork. It's a step ahead from the previous project, but still we are using the automated a little bit noisy of machines, but as you see that those digital information was directly feed into the machine so that they're able to automatic to fabricate those formworks in a machine language. We call the CNC. Okay, so why I'm showing these two projects is because from my perspective, I believe that the automation or the automated workflow is the next generation of our BIM workflow. Because from my perspective, though, we only have 2 decades of the BIM industry here. Those software or the workflow, actually, they are not that sophisticated. Sometimes we have to reinvent some of the workflow or change some of the workflow that to suit our project needs. So I want to say that many projects outside of the Hong Kong or internationally, they will develop their own workflow tools or automation things to suit their needs. So I think as a BIMer, this kind of the skill set, they are very essential for the times after this. Okay, so let me just start my topic, which is about the construction phase from the current perspective. First of all, let me just introduce our team. We are more focusing on the construction phase of the project, but we still have a management from the design, construction, and to as well O&M stage, which Fokke will mention a little bit more about the O&M. We are more focusing on the construction. So what our daily work is, we are checking the consultants and the contractors' submission to us. With the BIM model, we have to make sure that they are compliant with our BIM specification and the BIM standard and their modeling quality. They are good for us to do the next step of our application. So besides that, we also have the in-house technical support for the department. As I said, the BIM technology is not that long time ago, and especially in our department, it may be just less than a decade. So not everybody in the organization, they're familiar with the BIM and what BIM can do. So we are acting as a team that we are trying to transfer those message to the team, what can BIM can do. So we are including helping them to do some rendering, or maybe the QS team doing the data extraction, or even though some of the colleagues, they have a problem manipulate the BIM model. We have people that have a knowledge of a technical background to support not only with the BIM software itself, it also with the IT infrastructure, or even though for the computer software knowledge. The next stop is about the research and suggest workaround if those consultants and the contractors, they have technical problems. Because as I said, we are new in our BIM industry. The software maybe they are not as good as what we expect, what we want them to do. Sometimes the contractor or the consultant, they may have encountered some problem saying that, oh, I cannot do this or I cannot do that, or say the software is not working at all. Then with our technical background, we are able to give them some of the resolve method or workaround or the suggestion to resolve their problem and make they can proceed on our delivery to the BIM models. And we also develop some of the in-house tools to help our daily work. They are including some of the tools that I will mention in the next few slides later. And last and not least is about the in-house training workshop for the colleagues. So we are not only to train our BIM team colleagues for the technical side, also for the people that are working in the organization to have a knowledge and have an understanding what is BIM. Because from many people, they are not a BIMer. They may only know, oh, BIM model is just a 3D model, right? And nothing else. But actually, we are fully understand they are not. So we are trying to transfer this message to them. What can the BIM can do to them? So in our team, we are managing a 30+ project, but only with 6 people here. And the project size is as small as one cladding project with the BIM model to the whole terminals ANH works with one project alone. So every contractor or consultant, actually they are submitting the material to us, which are including their monthly report, bi-weekly work in progress model, clash report, 4D simulation, construction method simulation, blah, 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 etc. So you can imagine how many information we are receiving in a single month. So as you see in the background is my Google Outlook Canada, which is filled with tons of the meetings around here. So if we are just talking about 2 meetings per project, if we have 30 projects simultaneously, that means we have 115 meetings per month. So here is the questions: how to manage the massive number of project information with a limited team members, but without sacrificing the quality we deliver to our organizations. So we introduce some of our team philosophy, which is I want to transfer this philosophy to our team members. First of all, I believe that people should be focusing on more time on valuable output. What I mean is, instead of opening the model, downloading the model, and checking the clash numbers, these kind of the things, I want my team to spend more time of the more valuable output. For example, they're providing some insight of the project, what happened in the BIM model, what should we do next step, and what can we do it better to our organization and our PMs to make them they have a better understand of the project. And let computer do the repeatable work. If those work they are repeatable, that means they may have a logic to follow, and trust we may have a automated workflow that can do it by computer, not by a human. They don't have to spend the whole long time for only the repeatable work. And the third point is a transparent information flow to the team, because as we are a small team member size, the transparency of the information is very important. For example, if one of the team members they have on a sick leave, they cannot attend to the meeting, how can our team members can help to take care of it? With the transparency of the information, everybody can share the right on time and accurate project information, so then everybody in our team they're able to take care of anybody's work. And the last is about what I mentioned before is BIM is a new technology, and I believe that all our BIMers they should have a mind which is they're seeking for the new ideas, tools to resolve the problems. So I want to say that there is not much problem that are unresolvable. There should be a tools or a exit for the solution, but sometimes you have to do some work to seek and find the right answers. Okay, so here is some of the tools or the thing we are using with our team to help to achieve those our team philosophy, which has included standard of documents, standard workflows, in-house development, and automation. I will elaborate them a little bit in the next slide. First of all, about the standard documents, because when we, as I said, we are managing 30 projects at the same time. There's many consultants or contractors. In the first meeting, they may ask, what do you want for the monthly report? What do you want in the class report? What do you want to include? So we are providing them the document examples, which is the format of the class report or the format of a monthly report to them, to let them have a playbook and the template. They can follow it and produce the result that can meet our expectation. But here is a catch. We have to develop the templates by ourselves because they are not included in our previous standards or any document here. So we will spend time to do this and improve it from time to time, but it will save time with our effort and reduce the problem we may encounter. The next one is about the workflow, the standard of workflows. We will standardize those with teamwork for our team members. For example, what should our team members do if they receive a monthly report? What should they do if they receive a WIP report? Those workflows we gain from the previous project experience, and we want our team to using the same workflow to check their model or submissions. So we will have the same output and same standard to all projects together. The next stop is to do the repeatable work and spend more time for more valuable output. We will collect those output from our previous project or other projects to form a rule-based model quality assessment criteria and providing a report for our teams to further follow up. Talking about, we are receiving bi-weekly basis for the BIM model, but each time they may contain 20, 30, 40 of the Revit model. So I don't think we can have a time to open the Revit model one by one and check their quality, they meet our standards. So we are using some of the tools, for example, on the right-hand side with the Autodesk model checker for Revit. We will set up some of the rules, our criteria we wanted in the model for the quality. So we will have a batch mode that run through every submission. We'll just drop it into the Revit and run those plugins, and they will generate a report to us. Then we will feedback those output from the report to the contractor or consultants to fix their problems. So it will save a lot of our time instead of our daily office hour time for checking their model. We may put it in the Revit and then leave it at night and run it, and we will get the report by the day after. So we also, besides that, we also have some in-house development tools to further have a more detail of the model checking. So here is some of the example of the automation of the asset code, which is developed by the contractors. So we are not only working with our team in-house, we also helping the contractor or the consultants how can do their things quicker, smarter, and more accurate. So here's some of the example developed by the contractors with the script, as you can see, the Dynamo script to help to input some of the asset management, the asset data into our BIM model, which is those asset data is a very large amount of the human text input. So if we can automate that, that can save the contractor's time. Actually, it's not our time, but if they can save that their precious time, then maybe they can use it in a better way to provide a higher quality output for us. So here's another example, which is we will generate those clashes, the report, a viewpoint to automatically generate a comment sheet or report in a Word format. It's the same philosophy. We believe that if we can help the contractor to save their time and their money, they may provide a better deliverable to us. Cloud, tablet, and model. In the department, we also have we are seeking for the new possibilities, which is not include the software, also the hardware. For example, those BIM stations, we all know that they are very expensive and very high configuration. So we have an idea that can it be put it on the cloud and shared by all the parties to save the cost. Let's say if we have a very high-end computer for each member, is it possible that we can share the computer with 3 members, 4 members, or 5 members? Or those people, they are viewing the model in the department, they are not using in a day-by-day basis. Can we share that with them? Maybe 10 people share one of the computer on the cloud. So we are seeking for the possibility of the virtual desktop. And also for the Holo Builder is one of the applications they work with the mixed reality. And we also seeking for this possibility for us. Robotics, one of the very hot topics nowadays. Also from the China manufacturer, the Xiaomi, they also have a new cyber dogs, which is you can buy it in a very cheap price, less than one private car price, then you can have it in your home and develop your own tools to help. For example, maybe they can do some say investment, sidewalk, or some of the logging, etc. The possibility is unlimited. So we are seeking for those of the new technology as well. So the next stop is about the in-house development. I would like to introduce 4 of the examples from our developments we want to share with you guys. First one is about the Power BI clash report dashboard. There's many people saying that, oh, Navisworks can do the clash. Why we have to do so many things and put it in the Power BI for reporting? This is because in our BIMers professional perspective, we truly understand what's the meaning of the Navisworks clash report. But can the client understand? Can those colleagues without BIM knowledge, can they really understand the Navisworks clash report? What's the meaning of them? And another problem is when the top management, they're looking at the project's clash numbers. Usually those contractor or consultant, they will just report, oh, we have 10,000 or 100,000 of the clashes. That will really scare them because they are talking about so many clashes is one project, but actually they are only the numbers. You didn't tell them what's the meaning behind of those numbers. Some of them, they may not be important. Some of them, they may need to be solved at this time. So we are going to transfer those numbers into a Power BI dashboard, which is the parties, they can interactively looking at the numbers and what is the meanings. For example, they can navigate themselves to see what discipline, what fora, and where is the clashes in a very intuitive interface powered by Microsoft Power BI. So they are able to look into the report and see the answers, what, where, and why the clash was happened, and which one is important, which one is not. They are able to do the interactive reporting using the Power BI. So one of the Power BI to make a successful one is about the simple clash matrix. Here we have a table of the very specific breakdown of each element we have here, and we need those contractor or consultant to strictly follow it to produce a meaningful layout in a meaningful clash report instead of just telling me the numbers. And the tools, the automatic grab from the Navisworks clashes and then generate a report So our high-level management or the project manager, without the BIM knowledge, they can also understand what's the meaning of those numbers, not only numbers, but the insight of the project. The next stop is about the model comparison tools. The second question we will usually ask ourselves when we receiving the model from the contractor is about we are receiving bi-weekly basis. What did they do? What have they been done in these 2 weeks? Are they modeling the model in an appropriate way? Because in the BIM world, BIM, we are promoting a parametric modeling methodology. So that means when you model it incorrectly, you should change the parameter, not to delete the object and remodel it again, right? Most of the cases. So we are having an in-house tools, which is checking 2 versions of the model and highlighted with different colors. So we will see which element was newly created, which ones were deleted, and before and after of their geometry, before and after in the 2 versions of the model. So we can, from the model, we can have a few things can tell. First one, how much effort they put in their model, how much objects they have been updated during the time. Secondly, about the modeling quality. Are they model in the methodology they are using is a proper way? We can tell about this. And then these 2 are the reason behind we are using develop these plugins. Let's talk about the CDE notification and synchronization. CDE, commentator environment, is a very hot topic in BIM industry for these few years. And in our project, we have a CDE for each contractor. So as I said, we are talking about 20 to 30 projects simultaneously. That means they have 30 to 30 CDE together and then submit the information to us. So for us, we are not feasible to spend time to check their CDE to see any updates on them every day, in an everyday basis. This is the first thing we have encountered the problem. And the second problem is, if we only rely the CDE on the contractors alone, so we ask the question, what if their CDE was failed? So here's 2 of the examples. The first one, they are some of the contractors, they forgot to extend their service. Then the service was suddenly stopped. We lose all the files on the CDE. We cannot access them until they we pay it to open the account. Maybe they can, or maybe they cannot, right? And the second experience is that the BIM consultant in the project was suddenly disappeared and they closed down the CDE. Then we lose all the files as well. So these 2 of the examples bring us attention to have a solution or workflow that we need to have a backup copy or local copy in ourselves, not putting all the eggs in one basket. So in the in-house, our team was developed free of the script or the workflow to work with the CDE. The first thing is about the notification script, which you see in the top right corner, this the capture, which is when our team back to the office in the morning, the first email we are receiving is from the CDE notification, telling them that their specific project, what file is new in their in the project CDE. Not only in today, is in between this week, so they can have a quick view of what model was updated in the CDE, in the contractor CDE. The second one is the CDE synchronization, which is we will synchronize their whole CDE files to our local copy, and then we will upload it to our internal CDE as well, so that actually we have a few copies of their models and the project information to avoid them if there's any problem with their own CDE. And the last one is about the Google Sheet. As you see from the right low corner, which is it could be a time-consuming job if you want to find one specific file in the CDE, or I want to search a specific date or a specific file size in the CDE. That could be very time-consuming and very hard to do that in some of the CDEs. So that we will synchronize some of the CDE whole folder structure in a Google spreadsheet that we are easy to manipulate, search, and find the information we want in our CDE. Not need to log in into each of their CDEs. And more than that, we can also create a metric to see their CDE status, which folder or which user have been most actively in the CDE, or etc. Something like that. We can generate a report on that. Okay, so for the next stop is about the Bim library. We have a very repetitive Bim library objects in our project. For example, for the sitting, we are repeating in many projects. They are using the similar design for the sitting. So we develop commonly used Revit Civil 3D object for our in-house usage. Later on, we can also share it with our contractor or consultant for them to save their time. And also, for the systematically collection of those objects, we will automatically generate the catalog and the file conversion. So for the users, they may not have a BIM knowledge, they may not have a Revit, they may not have Civil 3D, but still they can browse through our project folders and find the PDF with the catalog. Then they can look in for example, I want to bench sitting. Do we have that collection? Then they can very easy to search it. And lastly, we develop in-house SharePoint service for the colleagues. They can have a shopping cart experience. Just go to the website and search what they want, and then they can download it, the model for themselves. Project using our that FBX for their usage, not only the Revit, also the other file formats. So this is the last slide from myself. Lastly, I want to mention that not only for the BIM, also for the project management perspective, we do have used some project software or platform to assist our daily work to make a more smooth communication. First of all, we are using the Google Docs to share the comment sheet we are issuing to the contractor or consultants. The benefit of this is everybody can collaborate working on the same sheet. Instead of sending the email to party A, party B, party C for the same work document, and then finally we find out that we are using the wrong version. And the second one is about the Snack. It's a team collaboration tools, which is like a chat room. We can check. We can talk about our daily work and the problem we encounter in the Snack. We are using this because we want to separate those work-related conversation and those private conversation, not talk about the work conversation in the WhatsApp. And the last one is about the Trello. Trello is a very important tool for our team because it's related to the knowledge capture and sharing. In our daily work, we encounter many problems or many questions. So when we gain the answers or we solve the problems, we will locking it down with the Trello cards. So when we have a new colleagues or the people, they encounter the problem, they can search it by themselves and learn how to resolve the problem without they have to take it into the problem again and spend a lot of time just resolve a problem we already fixed. So here is all my slide about the construction stage. Now I will hand over to the Foki Wong to talk more about the O&M stage from the client's perspective.
Thank you, Kevin. This is Rocky, and I will share with you about the operation and maintenance part. Okay, building information modeling is increasing, getting the attention of organizations involved in architectural engineering and construction, AEC, as well as the owner and the operation buildings, like the facility managers and real estate managers. BIM is a digital model which representing the physical, technical, and also functional characteristics of a building, and it allow us to share data. It as a knowledge platform for all stakeholders involved in the project's basis to make the decisions, and also it will throughout whole entire life cycle of the building, like design, build, maintenance, and operation. With a virtual model of the building, all of the necessary information are centralized in one place, like the technical data sheet, the assessment, the statement, simply elements of the profit model, etc. information. This information is very important for facility management, FM, which must have all those information available for the quality and efficient operation for a building. Thanks, Kevin and Guan demonstrated the key benefit of implementing the BIM in planning, design, and construction stage for the project delivery. With the mandatory requirement for the capital works project, with project estimates more than 30 million, shall use BIM technology by Hong Kong Government Development Bureau. The project with adopting BIM and innovation technology increased in Hong Kong. This initiative is driving also the long-run data project in the whole AECO industries in Hong Kong to implement BIM process and also deploy the construction technologies in planning, design, construction stages. As BIM deliverable would hand over to the client at the end, it is eventually enable the client to carry the building information from the design and construction stage and integrated that information for the daily operation. The upcoming section will be more focused on the client point of view and more on the operation phase of the building information use. I will talk about the BIM GIS digital twin, and the company mentioned it because it's commonly mentioned in the AECO industry, and how can make use of those technologies for facilities management. We are talking about the building life cycle, and you can see in the figure, actually the operation and maintenance phase are taking a significant portion of the whole building life cycle. O&M includes the function, duties, and also those labor associated activities of the daily operation and the routine maintenance, those works, such as the replacement of parts, the structural components, and the other activities need to be preserved and assets. So that is continuous to provide good services and achieve its life and the reasonable maintenance costs. To achieve this goal of the facility, the client commonly consider the following aspect, like the reduce the capital repair, reduce the unscheduled shutdown repairs, extend the element equipment life, realize the life cycle cost saving, etc. Including Hong Kong, actually there are a lot of countries in the world considering the value chain of the built environment and make use of the building information modeling and the digital twin, the physical replica of the world, to enable the assurance and the feedback throughout the delivery and services. Like in UK, an example here, the government established infrastructure and project authority to manage those policy standard, process, and data from the building construction to the built environment. So next I will talk about the BIM in FM. In a common practice, the facilities management team has to handle about the building management system, we call it BMS. They're also including the central control management system and computer-aided management system, CCMS and CAMS. And another bit is about the asset management system. You can imagine in the building they have a lot of assets, and those asset information will be including those assets attribute, the cost information, the inventory record, the works order, spare parts, etc., maintenance record, etc. In this case, if the client can make use of those geometry and the information from the BIM model and associated into a building maintenance management system. These integrations have enhanced the usage of the facility operation applications. All the activity associated with a routine day-to-day use, support and maintenance of a building or a physical asset in the O&M phase of the construction. The client representatives shall be responsible for the managing the resources that affecting the cost and the services, like including the safety, reliability, and the performance. Hence, before do check at cycle, having a reasonable resources allocation is necessary for the facility management. The planned exercise are including those emergency maintenance, unplanned maintenance, preventive maintenance, and the important this one is predictive maintenance. Recent year, AECO industry evolved with new technology solution for their daily work. From the client perspective, it is an opportunity for new technology to realize the predictive facility management solutions. Therefore, deploying facility management through the BIM, Geographical Information System, GIS, and digital twin, which shall enhance the day-to-day work on both planned routine and repeatable tasks for the facility operation and maintenance. And the ultimate goal is enable the predictive maintenance for the improving the use of building information and also a historical record, IoT data to formulate the facility operation and maintenance applications. For example, BIM model, it allows us to have a full 3D navigation and visualization and rich information as a digital version of physical building. And the GIS is a database that's structured to enable the geospatial analysis and also the modeling, scalability, positioning, and server integration of those FM systems. And the web-based GIS application, it allows us to have a real-time property and asset management, enable the variety of interfacing, scalability, and the flexible assets. In client's perspective, the facility management is a professional management discipline focused on the efficient and effective delivery of supporting services for an organization. The project owner is dealing with the facility management, including those maintenance and repair, also the physical assets. In client organization, the management team is responsible to plan, manage the procedure on collecting the asset data throughout the design, construction, and operation. So, for example, there will be a like the building maintenance, test and inspection, building administration, and those facility management planning, etc. And for client to able to get those information from the design stage, construction stage to the O&M stage, then clearly that we have CIC BIM standard and ISO 19650 that elaborate about the life cycle and what procedure that we have to follow. And as a client, they always have their own standard that allow them to align with their own FM system integrations. And the client BIM standard will always consist with the organizational information requirement, OIR, asset information requirement, AIR, project information requirement, PIR, and exchange of information requirement. So for the OIR is to clarify the organizational needs and objective. AIR is a key one, is all about the requirement of the asset and then how the management and maintenance procedure on those assets. So next I will talk about, I will use this image, this figure to elaborate about, so what is the next after we have the BIM model as a client. So throughout the design, build, and construction stage, then we will have the BIM model. But it's not the end, because we will still have a long operation time for those buildings and the facilities. So therefore, we are considered to integrate all those building information to those asset information and operation data, so that we will have the whole information that throughout the whole building life cycle. Integrated facilities. So to improve the operation efficiency, the integrated facility solution is considered to help the project owner. So actually it can support the service requests from the FM and operation team, improve the productivity during the operational life cycle, securely manage the maintenance contractor and consultant asset and asset information, etc. So by integrating those BIM and the existing information or the historical information or the live information of the building, then we will be able to enable this integrated facilities, make use of all those information in the digital replica. Next. Okay, this figure is elaborate the idea of the goal of integration between different sources of information, such as what we mentioned about BIM, but also the IoT data and the building management system, GIS, and other government open data, like the radar information, the satellite information, to develop the facilities management applications to suit for the client needs. The geometries, with including those base map, 3D geometries will be from BIM model and point cloud. For the information, normally we divided into two. One is static data, which including those historical record, like the asset information, the maintenance record, land use record, etc. And the information also including those dynamic data, including the IoT, sensors, the operation technology data, and the open source data. Here is a slide also clearly elaborate what I just mentioned in the previous slide. GIS for management, the view data with the reference to a specific geographical location. In fact, the spatial data has long been integrated into our life. We can use the map application in our mobile phone. For example, combined with the GIS to locate a nearby restaurant. In different cases, in a building, you can use the IoT and also make use those spatial data to locate your toilet and understand how's occupants there. By making use of the BIM asset information model, for example, connecting the BIM to IoT data, then those information collected into application, it will be greatly facilitate those facility managements in their daily operation. In this figure, you can see more wider picture about the climate change resilience. This case is about flooding prevention application. Now we can able to get the information, those BIM model and the map from the government based on the planning department of Hong Kong government and the lands department from the Hong Kong government to get those information. And with those information, you will able to do some prediction. And also when we're adding the HKO information about the weather from the Hong Kong government, you will have the rainfall and those information so that you can combine all those open data, maybe IoT and also BIM model and the city level GIS model to simulate those cases and doing the prediction. So for the owner and the developer is a trend for them to make use of those information for their planning. The next is about the asset management. In here, you can see that by making use of the BIM model, GIS, and asset information system, then we will able to combine three different kind of information together to generate application. For example, on the left-hand side, you will see the asset information system. So it's like a form type of system, but it contains those information. For example, is the grid line and the location, like the floor and the zone in their content. But you can imagine with those information integrated to the BIM model and the point cloud, also representing those records from this 3D environment with a map to contain all those. Then the application to the facility managers will be significant. Yeah, and it will be able for them to monitor the fault, the system performance, and the maintenance performance as well. So therefore, I will introduce about the holistic management on facilities. So now with all those information ready, actually it's not limited only make use of those paper type of workflow and maybe spreadsheet type of information collection. We can make use of the geographical information system and the building information modeling to those facility management. Like I just mentioned, we can very easy to create a dashboard by making use of the spreadsheet. Yeah, we will have our office and we open the office, we can plot out all the data, but for managing all those data and for the system integration is difficult. So therefore, I take this reference from the Hong Kong government. You can see that from the Hong Kong government website, the data.gov.hk, the government department is already make use of the map to simulate, sorry, not the simulate, but to list out about the weather distribution and the temperature distribution in different districts. So for the public, will easy to access to those information and easy to understand about the forecast. And next, I think everyone will be familiar with this one because it's a COVID-19 information dashboard. The same idea, government is make use of the GIS system in this case, and with all the information plotted with geographical reference to a map, and with the summary and the dashboard on the left-hand side and the right-hand side to allow the public to easily to do to review, to understand the cases of the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 pandemic is affecting the Hong Kong so much. The information that including the status, numbers, locations, and the details are published online. And in the GIS, it realized the geographical information on map that sorted so that the public, without the specific knowledge or training, also can be easy to make use of this dashboard. And here we have two short video, and the short video showing that with the GIS, we'll be able to create more information, which not only for the building itself. It could be facilitate the government for the city scale level of planning as well. As a project owner, it creates more opportunities to the innovation solutions for better facility management. So here is just a slide showing that if any one of you are interested, you can go to planning department and download the 3D map. It's free and available online. About the digital twin, people may ask, what is digital twin? Actually, is a physical. Actually is a twin with a physical assets, like the BIM integrated with GIS. Then we can call it GIS-centric digital twin or digital twin. This enable the link to O&M and provide a instant access to quality approved asset data, and accessible in the field that FM engineer and the maintenance team for them to use. Although we know BIM process help the planning, design, and construction, in view of smart city initiative in the major countries, I believe BIM model is not going to stop in the planning, design, and construction, but also formulating a foundation to enable a digital twin for the smart cities. Coming is my last slide. Concerning the digital transformation to effective FM, includes the ability to achieve the real-time access to accurate information on building facilities. BIM for facility management represent the highest level of the BIM maturity towards to the digital sustainability of the intelligent built environment. All these new process and technologies hold potential, but it depends on how many synergy from the various stage of integration. Can the different stakeholders across the design and construction stage contribute to better delivery of the BIM model for FM? And my answer is yes. As BIM for FM is relatively new, adding to the traditional FM process means rethinking how the team work together. This transformation is evolving practice and changing that has significant meaning and value towards building a better, efficient, a more innovative and sustainable environment. Last but not the least, as a client, I would like to share with you about the difference between service and experience. Service is what customers expect, but where the experience, what they discover, unexpected, sustainable. It shall rely on all of us and our contributions to transform our AECO industry to achieve an excellent experience in construction and built environments. This is all my slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Guan, Kevin, and Focky.
Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah.
Okay. We now move on to the Q&A sessions. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise in the chat box. And we have already received several questions. Okay, and let me show you the questions. The first question is, in construction phase, how project information model and the related metadata produced in common data environment can be smoothly integrated to the CAFM, that means the computer aided facility management system in airport facilities. What types of file formats of the PIM are suggested to adopt for handover? What is the level of information need from such CAFM system?
Maybe I can answer this question first, and then maybe Pocket elaborate a little bit more about this. First of all, currently, is that somebody talking? Sorry. First of all, in our organization, we are involving not only the building itself, also about the underground utilities and the civil elements. So the file format, the first question to answer is about the file format we are receiving. Usually, we are mainly in Autodesk Revit and Civil 3D model. But here is the catch, because as you know that the Autodesk software is updating every year. So depends on the project, when we start the project, we may accept a different version of the Autodesk model from time to time. So the level of the information need from such system, we are expecting to receive those information at the LD500 at the end of the project, which is they will start inputting those information into the system.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. The second questions, I'm working in a modeling team. I find that creating automated process for modeling, documentation, production, and model audit seems to be amazing, but difficult to kickstart. Is there any suggestion that makes it easier to do so that most of the BIM modelers can use it without headache? Any local community group that we could get free resources for that?
Maybe I can start the question first, the answer first. I think you don't have to go to the local community to get the free resources. It's all on the internet. So you just Google it and you can find tons of the information and videos, tutorial, etc. You can learn it by yourself. But I think one of the thing I want to mention that is for those automated process, if you use it, you may find it very exciting, very useful. But for developing, you need to put some effort. I mean, the effort is about the basic programming language, because you may have a very strong knowledge about the geometry itself and the Revit and BIM itself. But what is the mechanism behind to control those elements? How can you link them together? So you need to have some software programming basic knowledge to understand how can you connect those elements together. So in short, if you want to make it easy from a start point, you may learn Dynamo, but from time to time, you may need to learn more deep language. It's not very difficult. So, for example, for the Python, then if you know Python, then actually you can do the automation in most of the platform we are using nowadays. Forky, maybe you can elaborate a little bit more.
Well, maybe let me start first. I think one of the key consideration that as a client we are looking for is really for the automation capabilities, right? Often in the industry, these automations exercise and this tech-savvy stream of BIMers that we often ignore in the market or in the industries, they often contribute to a lot of these automations. They might not come with the right educational background. They might not from the AEC or industry having the right degree or master's or postgraduate degrees, but they are actually the ones behind and a lot in language. Feel comfortable. Look through the website. Look into JavaScript, even C#. Things of different programming language. Determine what's your IDE, right? Integrated development environment, right? And of course, you got to look into these different software and online open collaboration platforms. How much open API they offer you, right? And of course, some of these vendors, they require the user to actually sign confidentiality before they release some of this API, right? So if you're interested, you can sign up for it, and you can start linking out everything, right? What our recommendation is to really, this was much explained in Kevin's deck. He was trying to really demonstrate that look into your workflow first, determine how much things you want to automate, right? And then identify what the languages and so on. And as a client, right, we are really hoping that we can contribute and support the consultants and contractors. And at the same time, we are hoping that different contractors, they can do a knowledge sharing, right? Design consultants, whatever experience that they had, legacy data that they have left behind. There's knowledge already been compiled in there. So we can extend it to the construction phase. So this is all about knowledge sharing. So from one mega project, we can extend all this knowledge sharing. But things are easy as you say, right? People, there's always confidentiality issues building around it. Sharing is a good thing, but we might run into a war. Having teams that wanted to protect their IP. So yeah.
So with echo to Kevin and Guang, I will say that as a client, we have our requirement data clearly. So before you start, you will understand from your senior about what your project should do, about the scope of work, that kind of thing, and also requirement from the client side. With all those, then you should lay down, as Kelvin and Guan just said, you should lay down your workflow. With your workflow, and then you will know what you need to do for those processes to simulate or automate. So for that, you are going to find your resources. In the old days, I think both of us are using maybe YouTube or going to a library, search for the research to find some way, find a way to get those solutions. But now I think CIC, like our organization HKIBIM, also providing some similar course to allow the practitioner in the BIM industry to learn. So I think it's not a difficult thing. So this is what I suggest. Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin, Guan, and Frocky. The third question is, could you advise the important software settings to facilitate the interoperability of GIS model and BIM model in mega projects in terms of graphical data and non-graphical data?
Yes, this is Frocky. I will take this one. Actually, because I'm in the client side working on this part, the BIM to GIS, simply say. For understanding what software setting is important, the key thing is you need to understand the requirements, maybe from your client or from your senior manager. What is the software being used for GIS and what is the software required for those BIM process? You need to be clear so that you will not getting to the wrong place. And with this starting point, then for the settings, after you clarify, identify the software you use, like the GIS platform, then it will have specified, and the client may have specified what is the information requirement. It's important. You will find a lot of very general information online, but actually is a client dependent. So you are in different, you're serving different clients, different project owner. They may have different systems. So to suit the needs that and resolve their issues. So you need to understand what is your client's requirement. In this case, I will simply say your client should give a clear instruction to you about how to deliver the information they require. You have no idea to guess what information they're going to need from projects, right? So understand what you need to do before you take action to do the such thing is a key. Yeah, and simply say I can give an example. For example, you're using a brand, a general brand of the GIS platform, and using a because we already mentioned about the Revit, maybe the Revit is common, so we can take it as an example as well. When you make use of Revit and the GIS, I think I will consider first about the how the Revit can what format Revit can export, and if the exported file format are supported by the GIS system. So when you identify about the information need on the GIS system, then you will be able to check if your BIM model will be able to produce such information. So I will explain it in this way. I hope I can answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frocky. The fourth question is, I'm an assistant BIM modeler. My team head has been asking me to input asset data into the Revit and Civil 3D models. Can you share with me the most efficient way to finish such process?
Maybe I can start the answer first, and you guys can elaborate a little bit more.
Thank you, Kevin.
First of all, for the input asset data, the first thing you need to understand is from the client, what do they need? And what element do they want with the asset data? Are they really want the asset data for every single pipe of the chiller pipe, for example, or they just want the machine itself? Because from our experience, those contractor or consultant, they do not really understand what do we need. They were just expecting, oh, I need to enter the asset information. I have to enter every single piece of the element in the model. But actually, we are not. Think about why the client needs the asset information. For example, for our organization, we need the asset information because we need it for the operation and maintenance. So the answer will be, do you need to enter the asset information for the concrete slab? No, you don't, because they are not maintainable. So logically thinking about this question, before you just dig into deep dive in the model and enter the information, maybe at the end of the day, you find out that the client doesn't need it at all. This is the first thing. And the second thing is, in the Revit and Civil 3D, you are able to use the Dynamo scripts to automate the process. For example, you can prepare the spreadsheets containing all the assets you need to enter, and then just import it into the Civil 3D or Revit using the Dynamo. That could be one way. Or another way is you can use script to convert some of the information from other software and then import it into Revit. From our organization, we request those contractor or consultant to enter those asset information, but they have to use our template, which is our template already contain all the fields we need for the asset information. So to answer this question, you should ask your client, what is the application of your asset? What do you want to do with it? And do you have any template, Revit template or civil template, or the information requirement? For example, for the date, installation date, what is the format they want? Do they want YYY MMDD or just YY MMDD, something like that, the format? So we have a very comprehensive guideline and the instruction to our contractors. So once we explain to them, they will fully understand what we want. So Foki can continue on that.
Yeah. In my point of view, actually echo to Kelvin, fully agree about what Kelvin just mentioned. And I think there are another key point for the contractor to submit something to client. Actually, I will suggest you have a small portion for a trial submission first, so that you get the expectation from your client and understand what you need to do at the beginning. Then you do the mass production. Just follow what Kelvin just mentioned, using those automation. So don't do it manually, you do it in the automation. But first, you need to make sure the task you're doing right. And then you will mass production, do the fully automation. Yeah, thank you.
I just have something to add on. I think as a clients, right, based on our experience we see in the market, as compared to where we belong to right now, most of the contracts in the market is putting a team of BIM manager, a couple of coordinators, and a couple of modelers, right? Not exceeding the size of 10. But really to work on the projects, especially on the infrastructure projects running from 5 to 10 years, right? For this lengthy time of project engagements, and also with this limited time resources, we got to be realistic how much resources we put into. And this is why in our early plannings, right, we put down a minimum number of BIMers that we require to work on the projects. We don't see it traditionally in the drafting of CAD requirements on the contracts. We specifically put it down so that we are hoping to have that resources to work on the projects. So again, we often see some of the downside is the teams are always leaving this to the very end of the exercise, and when the projects start ramping down, the resources become thinner, and I think this is one of the difficulties that the client will always meet, right? So always have whether it's a consultant or contractors, you know, we go to ensure that we have allocate earlier time for them to start inputting this. There's always challenge in inputting or defining to find the right definition of all of these assets. What is an asset?
Okay, thank you, Kevin, Grant, and Frocky. And then we have our last questions. We have heard about digital twin for years. What are the potential benefits brought to clients of mega projects? How designers, main contractors, subcontractors, and suppliers contribute to it?
Yeah, let me take this one. About the digital twin, so I need to recap once again. Actually, it's a digital replica. So it's a mirror of the physical asset and the physical information. When they mirror into the digital world, then we can call it digital twin. So what we expecting those digital twin can be performed, and actually by in our organization, when we are thinking about digital twin, actually we think about how to mirror the physical asset, including the buildings, facilities, systems, and those system information to a digital environment. By that, some of the clients or the client role project owner, they make use of the geographical information system, GIS, to contain those information. It will be a map, it will be a BIM model, the 3D mesh, like the aerial drone taken mesh model, point count. They have those geometry information, and they will have the building information. Like they will know there are a asset. For example, in this room we have lighting fixture, and we have all the different systems like the projector and the other systems. And those systems with their asset, the components, and the component with their attribute, like those characteristic, like is a lighting, and then they are lux, and then they are when they purchase it, when they install, and when they will expect it to be failure, means the life of the asset. And all those information, when you integrate it to a single system with map, BIM, asset information, and together with those record. For example, you will have the system record on the power consumption. So you consider all those integrated to a single place. Then you will have insight, you will have able to filter, but it's not like the Excel format, but with a geographical reference. And for example, if your facility, including the outdoors, like the government, they will have buildings, they will have development, other development outdoor. Then you can also bring in the weather information. Those weather prediction could be import. And just like the slide I just showed about the flooding in the foreign country, the flooding prediction can make use of these kind of information together and generate to the simulation or prediction. So these are the use case. And the second part depends on how the client would need those information from the construction and design stage. For example, the designer may contribute their model would be enough for the digital twin development, and which is also their scope of work. For the contractor, they will hand over their model, and which is included in their scope of work, the common scope of work, and it will form a part of the digital twin. So for these two of the case, is no additional requirement. You may not see additional requirement on digital twin, but the requirement on the BIM for design and construction stage would be more specify the needs on the graphical, the geometry and the information part. Yeah, this is my answer.
I can add a little bit more about the digital twin examples that benefit to the client. We have a project before that. Before we built, we putting those designs and those things in the BIM model, and then convert it into digital twin, and then show it to our stakeholders. So the answer the people, they may ask, oh, we already have the 3D Max, do the rendering, blah, 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 so beautiful. Why we still have digital twin to show it to the client, to the stakeholders? Because usually for the 3D Max, they are still image. You can only see one view. You cannot rotate and then walk around and see the things behind or something like that. But for the digital twin, in our organizations, we deploy the digital twin on the game engine, which is called the Unity. So they have a very realistic experience for the stakeholders, not only on the single point of view to the product, the final product. They also can navigate throughout all the project everywhere to see not only the outlook, look and feel, and also some of the very specific requirements. For example, one of our projects, we have a very long escalators running through 3 or 4 story high from the ground, from the first floor to the deck. And then when they design, they think that is no problem, just one escalator going all the way up. But when we put it in digital twin, we can simulate how the people, when they stand on the escalator, and then they find that the escalator is too long. The people, they're feeling not comfortable at all. So finally, they changed the design to 2 separate escalators. This is a very good example that not only the technical specification can govern the design, also for the passenger experience, the people experience, they're using it. We can simulate it in a digital twin to, before we build the actual product, we can experience it. So this is 2 of the examples I want to share with you guys.
It's always the case that Guang will come in and sum up everything. So I think even if you're the BIM team of the client, even you're BIM team of the contractors or BIM team of the consultants, there's always challenges being a support team to your design or construction management, or even your as an employer, right? Your supporting role. So there's always challenge. So in terms of software technical issues or whether industry project related issues, there's also internal challenges that we have to push through. So Kevin Rocky mentioned about the keywords, right? It's always about visualization and coordinations. This is we have to remember the keywords and try to promote the technology itself. In the whole planning of the whole projects, I have a different role. I'm working on 3 runway systems projects. We are, our focus is really on design and construction. Kevin's role is working on all the non-related design and constructions of the other remaining facilities. Forky's role is on the asset management and including some of the AIA awards within the existing facilities. So again, starting from each of us, we have a role. When the BIM model comes in, we have to start coordinating between each of us, right? What I'm going to use the BIM to focus on design and constructions, but at the same time, I have to coordinate with Rocky, right? What is he going to need during the handover phase, right? So if we know the future, which is the clients, the operation team's requirements, we're better to shape it and put the requirements in the design and construction phase. But again, we are all 3 of us. We are on the same team, so we thought that today we'll put together 3 of us to share our experience. I hope everybody, on behalf of Kevin and Rocky, we really hope that this will be beneficial to show our experience to all of you. Thank you.
Okay, on behalf of Hong Kong IBIM, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all 3 speakers, Mr. Guan Ding, Mr. Kevin Wen, and Mr. Forky Wong. And through this webinar, we can understand how BIM manages mega-scale infrastructure project delivery more effectively from the client's perspective. And I hope all the attendees would enjoy today's webinar. And towards the end of the webinar, I would like to remind you once again that there is an attendance system for Hong Kong IBIM members. If you would like to receive a CPD certificate, please remember to scan this QR code and enter the ticket number that has been assigned to you previously through email. And goodbye and have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.